I talk a lot about not hearing the boos. I don't give a what you think, but it goes both ways. I also don't hear the accolades. If you actually pressured yourself to be happy versus pressuring yourself to be a success, then you have a totally different conversation with yourself. I think people need to have bigger ambitions on impact.
Yeah.
Selflessness, you know? Humility. These are things that need to be attractive.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to not beat yourself up, don't fear setbacks, and practice things that feel scary with Gary Vaynerchuk and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Love the game.
I'm just unbelievably passionate about people figuring out the framework, and then more importantly, figuring out why they're not doing the framework. And then more importantly, what are you trying to accomplish? That's the question, because we have to accomplish happiness. That has to be the goal. And if you actually pressured yourself to be happy versus pressuring yourself to be a success, then you have a totally different conversation with yourself. And when you start doing that for yourself, not to prove it to your spouse or your siblings or your parents or the people you went to school with, then it gets really good. It gets really good when it gets really quiet. And it's super quiet for me. I don't hear the claps and I don't hear the boos. I just navigate. I love my process. I love the pain of being an entrepreneur. I love that it's lonely. I love the game.
Rule #2, don't beat yourself up.
The great blessing of my life is that I don't judge myself. I hold myself accountable. Like, it doesn't mean you go and be reckless. I'm not delusional. When I f up and I suck, it's just that I just don't overjudge it.
Yeah.
Everyone's tearing themselves down. The f are you doing that for? Everybody else is doing it for you. Stop beating yourself up.
Rule #3, have empathy.
What is your favorite word?
Empathy.
Great.
I think that empathy is something that, obviously I've started a wine brand. Somebody showed me a word cloud 3 years ago, and everybody thinks I'm hustle and all this, and sure enough, in my word cloud, analyzed every word for me: empathy, kindness, gratitude, patience. I understand how I manifest in my DNA on stage, but the way I drive what I do day to day, internally and results, is 100% predicated on empathy. First for my employees, second for my clients' customers, third for my clients. That is a very different framework than everybody else rolling around here, which is why we will win in the end.
Rule #4, be a content producer.
If I can leave you with another tactical piece of advice today, it is for you to get very serious about LinkedIn. It is grossly underpriced attention. It's organic. And the amount of reach it's getting, even for people in here who've never posted once, is remarkable. So, LinkedIn written or audio or video content in a post, remarkable growth. It reminds me of Facebook in 2012. And I believe a lot of you, whether you're B2B or B2C, or how many people here have a job? Raise your hand. Job. How many people would like to leave their job and start their own business? Higher. The #1 tactic, I believe, that can make 30% of the hands that just went up have a practical transition from going from a job to having their own business is strictly just blogging on LinkedIn on a daily basis around opinions and thoughts they have in the business that they're in or want to be in. Simple as that. The game is based on action. The game is based on action. And for me, the action that is most required is to be a content producer. I genuinely believe that no matter what your ambition is in this room, that if you are not producing written word, audio, or video for the internet on a daily basis, you will limit your upside and you will become vulnerable to competitors that are trying to reach the same audience you are.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, self-love, and motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
In a success world, please understand that success is happiness, not net dollars in. I really think mindset is everything. And so you've got to really decide, are you going to be positive about things or negative about things? My ability to only be comfortable in massive chaos has been my biggest asset as an entrepreneur. Like, I would never take a note. Like, that scares the piss out of me what these three people are doing right now.
Rule number 5, don't fear the setbacks.
I do think reverse engineering individuals at scale is something I'm very passionate about, having all these different employees, and there's so many different dynamics. And I think it is a fine line between the two is better than one, which I think the optimism that breeds, I think is incredible. And I think is, it's always better to lean into optimism versus pessimism and cynicism. But where I'm about to go with the rest of that sentence is actually the answer to confidence. I think the number one vulnerability in society is delusion. I think that parents are creating a remarkable level of delusion over the last 20 years because parents have become so micromanaging of their kids' feelings and actually know their day-to-days too much, and are trying to protect them from the world, which unfortunately is fundamentally impossible. And I believe that we have 1 to 2 full generations right now that are closer to zoo animals than they are humans. And so as I was listening to the stories, as we were talking here, I think one of the great things that is true about the three of us upbringing was we were in frameworks because of circumstances where losing wasn't demonized or protected against. It was the merit of the outcome, which got us comfortable with the idea of, which meant by the time we were actually 22, we actually knew that that was part of the variable. And it is remarkably stunning to me to watch the enormity of 22-year-olds that go into the world who demonize and fear losing or setbacks because they've been in an over-coddled fake framework environment where grades have been the only variable, or 7th place trophies feel close to a 1st place trophy, or mommy and daddy pay for Uber or the apartment. And we are just in a very entitled ecosystem. I think the biggest thing you can do for those 3-year-olds to create self-esteem and confidence is to make them be in an environment where losing is reality and almost even put on a pedestal without it being something that they dwell on post the outcome.
Rule number 6, hear neither boos nor accolades.
There's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, which is like with everything that's going on with me, I talk a lot about not hearing the boos. I don't give a f what you think, but it goes both ways. I also don't hear the accolades. Like so many people, as my notoriety and awareness grows and things that are going on with me, they're always like, man, you're so humble. And every time I hear somebody say that, I say it's because I can't hear your boos. That is literally what happens. When somebody, because they don't expect it, especially the way I am on video and on stage, they get confused by like the humility when they actually get to know me.
Sure.
And I'm like, and it's so funny how intuitive I feel that's completely laddered to me not hearing people that shit on me.
Rule number 7, practice things that feel scary.
I think for me, because I was an immigrant, because I had bad grades, my whole life I was losing, that by the time I was a grown-up, losing and fear didn't mean anything to me. So I got lucky in so much adversity as a child. I think if you haven't had that, or even if you had that, you still fear it because of the way your parents judged, you have to practice. It's, like you have to practice doing things that you are scared of. It's very true. It's like when people talk to me about fear, it feels so heavy. I'm like, it's like swimming or kissing a boy. You were scared of that when you were young until you did it, and then you were, or talking to me, right? But then practice gets you there. So you have to practice things that feel scary, and then you'll get more used to them. It's the truth. It's just the truth.
Rule number 8, have bigger ambitions on impact.
I think people need to have bigger ambitions on impact.
Yeah.
Selflessness, humility. These are things that need to be attractive. Yeah. I think the biggest winners I know are humble. I mean that, truly humble, when nobody's paying attention. How do they, I don't have a lot of friends because I'm busy and I want to spend time with my family. Do you know how much do you understand why I even interact with you? It's how you interact with somebody when we walk into a gym to play basketball. That's what, people are gonna be nice to me, especially now. I watch everybody. I'm collecting data 24/7. How are people interacting with other people? Who are they in their soul? Are you smiling at a stranger when you're, do you know my favorite thing to do in life? I did the other day, it just really hit me God, I love this. God, I love my parents and DNA and circumstance. Do you know how fun it is to walk in an airport and look at somebody and just smile dead in their face and get them to smile at you back? It's nice. It's nice. I like that shit, man. Positivity is underrated. Underrated.
Rule number 9, think like a publisher.
This is a very important mindset because what's remarkable about this is what I'm actually saying is everybody in here needs to think more like a publisher and a media company than what they actually do for a living. Are you a lawyer? Cool. I also want you to write content every day. Are you a financial advisor? Awesome. I want you to write content every day. Are you a salesperson? Are you a tech SaaS founder? Are you this, that, the other thing? The gateway to everybody's ambition is content because communication is the foundational aspect of how everybody makes every decision. The reason there's so much scrutiny on big tech companies all over the world is because our attention is now there and that is changing our opinions about everything. There's a reason that when there's a coup in a country, they go after the newspaper, radio, and television first. Even before they raid the palace, they go for the media because the media dictates how you think. A scary amount of every opinion in your head was put there by the content you consumed, by the content that your parents consumed and then put into your head. Your ability to put content into the ecosystem and create the outcome that you aspire to is the fundamental variable.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is be kind.
Kindness is so underrated.
Yes.
I can't, I push it so heavily. I'm fascinated by people not understanding how life actually works.
Well, it just doesn't make sense. What?
It makes no practical sense.
Why go through life like that and be a
Well, why? Because
dink?
unlike the three of us, we were fortunate enough to have a situation where we weren't hurting inside and it wasn't manifesting. When I watch people not be kind, I deploy empathy and sadness for that person because I'm like, what's really going on back home is super not interesting. That's the manifestation of a bad environment or bad parenting or a terrible circumstance.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Gary on how to limit the negativity that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1, who can you be kind to today? Number 2, how can you have bigger ambitions on impact? And number 3, what can you practice that feels scary to you? And if you made it this far in a video and you are committed to taking action, give me a #believe down in the comments as well.
All of a sudden you decided you're gonna be successful and your homies aren't good enough for you. Don't be a dick. Number 1. Number 2, by trying to over-communicate, if these are true friends, over-communicate the path that you're on and try to get them motivated and excited to be on it with you. Number 3, after you did number 1 and 2 heavily, because these are friends now. Number 3 is just limiting the interaction. Maybe going from hanging out every second and every day to hanging out 3 times a week. Limiting things that you feel are actually detrimental to you.
Right, rather than that hard cut that we think we have to do.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, my friend smokes too much weed all day and he's loser's not going anywhere. Now I just started watching this content, I'm fired up and I'm gonna be a winner. You're out, Dominic. Dominic's been your boy for 20 years. Don't be a Like first, I mean, but we're all laughing because we actually know this is happening.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
so like, and it's funny as the person that sometimes is making the content that's making that happen. I don't want that. I want this. This is the process. First, look at yourself. Are you full of shit? Second, try to put your people on with you. Let's do this together. Let's go. Try to hype them up. Then third, if that doesn't work and you're actually genuinely feeling it and saying like, you know, I'm ready, like I feel like I'm getting sucked into that negativity or passiveness and I want to go on a different path, you can go do that, but you can still have that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just going to add on this because it's important. I believe it's even more of a conversation with your family. There's a lot of people right now really struggling with their transition because they have a negative mother or father. And it's a force in their life that is really f***ing them up. And I don't think you need to cut out dad, but maybe you don't have to answer every one of his calls where you know the call is gonna be negative. Evan, thank you so much for having a couple seconds and being able to tell the Believe Nation a little bit about Empathy Wines. It means a lot to me that you would take this valuable real estate and time on your channel to give me some love. It means a lot. It's just good karma points, and so you're awesome. Thank you. Believe Nation, if you're into wine at all, go to empathywines.com. My whole career's work was poured into producing a wine that rivaled $40 to $60 wine for $20 a bottle. I'm just super excited about this subscription-based wine business. You can order 3, 6, or 12 bottles in subscription form, rosé, white, red. If you search on Instagram or Twitter, you will be blown away. People are literally like, I don't even like Gary Vee, but the wine's good. Super proud of the effort. Thanks, Evan, for the time. Wishing you guys all happy and healthy.
If you want 10 more rules from Gary Vaynerchuk, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
All I'm ever doing is trying to take empathy, gratitude, kindness, positivity, optimism, and create repackaging for it in modern society.